Yo, what's up? Once again, this is Skinny Black's Lounge. I'm your host, Skinny Black. And to around the room, we're just gonna hit this introductions. Randy.
Rennie.
Yep. Cool. JT.
Oh, okay, you cut off for a minute, man. Thank you, StreamYard. JT, the period is silent. Hi, Mom.
We got a special guest, Tyson Jackson, brother.
What's good, brothers? Tyson Jackson. Happy to be here tonight.
Don't not to be confused with Action, Sam, Bo, or Mahalia.
I hope we ain't confusing them with hell yet.
Look,
God damn.
You said Tito, Jesse, or Andrew. You know,
I don't give a damn. That's all them from Mahalia.
Mahalia, look.
And of course, as always, we got the ghost of Lebo, in the house. So thank you for joining Skinny Black's Lounge. We got a good lineup today. First of all, we already started a conversation around HBCUs. The backstory about that is my brother JT, period of silent, dropped off his daughter to school at a HBCU, and we were just having a conversation, which we're gonna bring in. But before we do that, you know how we do around about this time, sucker shit.
Well, since you did it that way, I'm a flip what we was gonna do it. I'm gonna do it the other way. So I was like you said, dropping my daughter off to start her freshman year down at Tuskegee. And so what I did was, I'm divorced, so my ex-wife lives in another city. So I chartered my plane because I paid for my daughter's flight. So I chartered my plane to meet her flight to connect. And so when she got on the plane, I was sitting in the seat to see her as a surprise. She was like, Dad, when you gonna be down there? When you gonna be down there? So that was the first surprise. So we landed in Atlanta and we got to do the 2-hour plus drive over through Alabama. And the way it was set up, we had 2 cars. I had a van and my daughter rode with me. And it just, before she fell asleep, we were having a real cool conversation, went over a whole bunch of different things. One of the things we was talking about was she was giving me her theories about like the kind of guy girls in her generation like versus the old generation. And I said, well, there's still some things that naturally, no matter what you say to me on this ride, if a dude does it, you gonna go, ugh. Your gut gonna tell you don't like it, right? And she was like, oh yeah, this boy did this and this boy did that. And I was like, I don't know if it's him or if it's how I was raised. It might be a pap smear thing. And she was like, pap smear. And I was like, yeah, punk ass parents. And I said, we got her into the dorm and ladies was falling all out and this and that over their sons. And I was like, well, if he was 18 in Ukraine, you'd be handing him a Bible and a motherfucking rifle. That nigga studying astronomy in college. Why are you passing pap smear, punk ass parent? That's how's he gonna make it in high school? You mean the same high school everybody had to go to? Oh, he got bullied. No different than any of us got bullies. I'm actually pro bully to a certain extent. I know that might get me canceled, but I ain't got nothing you could take no way. Pap smear, punk ass parents. All I'm saying is you pap smear niggas, you on some sucker shit.
And there you have it.
Okay. Once again, did not see that coming. Oh man, let me okay, cool. So let's speaking on HBCUs and speaking on that experience, we were talking before about the pros and cons, the lessons, the challenges that HBCUs are experiencing right now. we're just gonna re-up that conversation, man. So Tyson, you was about to say something. You had a little something on your mind about the funding of HBCUs and what the challenges may be, especially you live in DC. After we have this conversation, I want you to introduce yourself, talk about Black with No Chase and all that anyway. But go ahead.
For sure. Well, one, appreciate just being here, but I got on my HBCU hat right now.
Tougaloo representative
in Jackson, Mississippi. So representative for HBCUs and HBCU experience. I don't put one over the other. My brother, older brother, he's graduated University of Illinois, and I was his little brother while he was on campus. So I'm from Champaign, Illinois, so I got a chance to see what the PWI experience looks like, as well as the tight connection that you have as Black people. But going into the HBCU experience and thinking about this, like where we at right now, funding is totally different, and the cost of education is totally different. So, and I was talking about, and it was getting into why don't we pay back into the endowments, and why don't we, invest back in our schools and donates? And I think many of us are. I know I do. I'm always in some kind of capital campaign, giving when I can. I'm on the annual giving. I'm in the alumni association, doing all the rest of those things, that we're supposed to do. But it's fractional compared to what I earn and what I can actually give back to the school, and that's based off of the fact that I got student loans too. So, as paying student loans, as trying to give back to the school at the same time, you're juggling stuff. And I think that our generation, this generation, might be a little bit different now, but I consider myself millennial. I went to school in 1999 and early 2000s, but during that time period, education costs a lot more than what it did for when my brother was in school, and then for when my mother was in school. So in comparison, and also just the fact that too, just the job market's changed. A lot of stuff has changed where now we're off balance. And then I get into it too, and I'll be quiet because I can be long-winded. Now our HBCUs are trying to compete with PWIs as well too. So now we get it. I bring Jackson State up in this conversation for a prime example. Jackson State was right across the street. I actually went to Jackson State as well too, in Tougaloo. So Tougaloo and Jackson State, both in Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson State, the public school, Tougaloo, the private school. Nonetheless, you get a Deion Sanders who's come there and does significant amount of investments themselves, bring notoriety to the school, a lot of attention at the school. Now you have programs that are up there, but when he got there, he had a huge complaint. He's like, this ain't up to par. He had to put his own money into the sports program in order for it to get to where it is now, where they have a successful program, and now they're running it, and now they're bringing in more students, and now it's getting popular, and now it's there that you're getting that. But before that, we had a total disadvantage because they just didn't have the infrastructure and the money in order to support it. So I just, and I think it's just those disparities have to be discussed when we talk about HBCUs and the current state that they're in.
Yeah, I know, Rennie, you had. Go ahead, Jay. You was about to. But I know, Rennie, you had.
No. Go. No, they're Rennie good.
Yeah, Rennie had a stat about about giving back to HBCUs, what it would come out to, how it could help, and I got something to say to that as far as public-private HBCUs from my experience. Go ahead, Rennie.
I mean, it was old data. It was old data, but it was during Spike Lee had actually got with some people, and they looked at the funding for at the time, which is now 30 years ago, about an investment made by adult Black people, $100, and how it would fund HBCUs and what that would do annually, and what that would do in an annuity and an endowment that paid out. And I think more than anything else, we can operate with the desire to fund our schools while at the same time holding the government into account for what is legally owed to the schools. Currently in the underfunding, which at last count was in excess of 750 billion, I think it was. Yep. 750 billion in withheld federal funds. So like it's the duality of that, which JC was referring to, like our lack of support, because I mean, we can look at it. Look at what microfunding has done for political campaigns. You know what I mean? The Obama administration subsisted off microfunding. It was the creator of that for political campaigns. Didn't go to the big donors, which ultimately allowed him to move in that political space without those heavy obligations early on, because he wasn't beholden to anyone or one specific entity, you know? And so by virtue of that, we could do the same things and fund our education while actively forcing the system and creating inertia to get what we are legally obligated. This isn't a handout. This is what it says. These are land grant state schools. They're supposed to be funded in the same way as if we're in California, Cal State University, or if you're in New York, a State University of New York, or within the college system. They're supposed to be funded in the exact same way, and they're not.
Well, JT.
Well, first of all, you know, I say it all the time, two things can be true at the same time, right? So, you know, as we was previously stated, you know, dropping my daughter off at Tuskegee, that feeling of taking her onto that campus and the warm reception and everything, that environment, I felt really comfortable in her decision. Now, I'm a West Coast dude, born and raised in LA, and my daughter was born in LA and then lived in Phoenix, and we going down there. So there's also something to be said about Black folks separated by geography, because they tried to tell me when I was in high school that Compton College was a Black college, and I was like, I got shot at both 2 blocks away from there when I was 16. You can't tell me that's higher learning. You kiss my ass, right? So, but when you go to these places and you're like, oh, there's something really going on here, especially if you come from a different place like I did, right? And I went to a PWI. So it was my first time experiencing this as a grown man, father of 2. But with that said, 2 things happened. In my mind, I was like, you know what? I'm going to personally commit to donating money to the university that my daughter is going to be a graduate of. I have never had a thought. I'm a graduate of USC. I've never had a thought of giving them motherfuckers nothing. I was like, they got enough money. Okay, excuse my French, you know, but oui. And so that touched me. And the thing that I've struggled with, and I've been thinking about is, well, if I've had that feeling, why haven't other people had that feeling? And I'm not saying a bunch of money. We come from a history and a tradition of a little bit and making it work. And so, yes, we're underfunded from the government. Yes, Deion did what he did at Jackson, but to me, that's a model. Maybe it doesn't happen on such a grand scale, but you have other people that could adopt an HBCU. What if everyone that was high profile said, okay, X person said, this is my HBCU, and now we're going to have the competition. Okay, Morehouse is mine. You know, Spelman is mine. Morgan State is mine. You know, and we make it high profile like we make everything else high profile. Black folks make everything hot. So why can't we make our institutions and our education hot? Man. And so this is not a conversation, a disagreement amongst us. This is a conversation, actually a collaboration. Like, I'm agreeing with y'all on the points you're making. I'm just saying that the feeling that hit me was like, okay, I look at anything that we get outside of us as a bonus, because I've seen too much time and information pass where we don't get it. You know, I operate in my personal life without the need for a thank you if I'm doing something that's in my principles. So I carry that to this. You know, that's just where I was coming from. And one other thing that don't have nothing to do with this, we was in Auburn at the Walmart, and this brother was checking in, checking out, and then I started a conversation with him, And I'm a Dodger fan, and I know Ohtani on the Dodgers, and we got the good Japanese pitcher too. And that brother was talking to me, and I was looking at him like one of them Japanese people need the translator standing next to him. He was saying, he was talking to me, and I was like, "What is this man saying to me?"
You move in the South, you gotta get used to them Southern accents. Take a second.
Yeah, man, he was talking, and whatever he said, But all I heard was like Cheetos on aisle 3, and I was like, "Nigga, I ain't saying nothing about no Cheetos." And he could have been saying hello. He could have been saying anything. I'm telling you what I heard. And then
you needed me to translate, brother. You needed
and I just reached out and gave the brother a fist bump and pushed my car past him.
Can I say this just to put a cap on? I'm not saying end the conversation on the HBCUs, but I definitely want to say this in relation to even what you just said there. We as Black people, we have a tight-knit community. I believe I haven't met Barack Obama, but I believe I know somebody that can introduce me to Barack Obama, right? I believe I know somebody that can introduce me to any Black person in America at any point in time. If I don't know them myself, they already kind of in my circle. 2 degrees, 3 degrees of separation. Our universe is small. We are small. We are only 12 to 15% of the population in America. That is a very small number compared to the greater population of who is here. So I think sometimes, and I mean, we are in this race together, but sometimes maybe, and it's not a pushback against what you're saying, Brother JT, but I think sometimes our expectations of where we want to be and where we should be may be skewed based off of looking at it in comparison to our counterparts who stole everything they could steal to get to where they at. and put themselves in that position and to have amassed themselves in a population in which they are willing to control by death, in which we are maybe even facing some of that right now. Not to go into too much deep again, the deeper part of, but we're facing right now population control, especially in comparison of how many people are dying compared to who's being born in a global scale. So even in that, understanding that in comparison to where we at and maybe our expectations of ourselves and what we should be. And I just say that, not pushing back, brother, because I definitely think we need to get more. I think we need capital campaigns and where we are investing our money. We're doing the things like this. And I think it's not just even the graduates and those, like you said, now your daughter's there. It's other folks. We need to invest in our HBCUs and our institutions, and we need to do it at large scales, and it needs to be popular. So I definitely agree, but I definitely want to just bring the comparison, like where we at and who we are and what our numbers look like.
Yeah, and what was brought up earlier about, I think Rennie said about what's legally owed, when you talk about that billions of federal dollars. I mean, I went to Alabama A&M for 2 years, and I look at their campus now, man, this is gorgeous. It's always been like the prettiest campus I always thought, but like the stuff that they've done, the football field, the new dorms, like the new buildings they built was triggered by somebody had a lawsuit, and it opened up the plug for this money, and they used that money and redid the campus. And that's that state money. It's a state school, so they were getting that federal money. So I don't know what the equivalent is, because between Jackson and Tougaloo, you got public and private. I don't know what the equivalent is of how much private schools get that federal money versus what the state schools get.
I know Jack State got some of that federal money as well too from the Ayers case that passed, and that may be the same thing that brought funding for Alabama A&M too. But the private schools in different ball game. Tougaloo right now is struggling. Our enrollment is and they say maybe it's up this year, but it suffered some. We weren't able to compete. You get Jackson State across town. And I remember when I went to my college visit, I went to Jackson State. I was like, man, this looks like the hood. I went to Tougaloo, and it felt like a whole different world. It felt like a different world. And that's what made me want to go there compared to Jackson State. But now Jackson State is state of the art. Like I have a hard time saying I want to go to Tougaloo over Jackson State now. So private schools are suffering, and they need our money too.
Amen.
That's what I mean.
Go ahead, Ray.
No. Go ahead. Do you?
No, I was just gonna say. I remember the first time I went through Miles College, and I was like, "Ooh, my goodness, this is." I grew up in the project. I don't want to go to Miles College. This ain't the place to be. And to the other point, that just for the record, there was a opportunity on the table for Brendan to go to Stillman, JT. So I just want to put that on the table.
So first of all, sir, both of my offspring have chosen where they wanted to go to school.
They chose.
He had to give the everything. Brendan is my oldest, and he's a graduate of Loyola Marymount University out here in LA.
Lions.
Fine Catholic institution. Ominous, dominus, and all that. He also went to Catholic school for high school, and I'm not Catholic, but my home school, even though I lived in another city, was Compton High School, and I was like, Catholics it is, okay, so he picked that because that was where he was comfortable.
Right.
He had multiple schools that offered him full ride academic scholarships, but he told me, he was like, Dad, this is where I want to go. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And he didn't want to leave home. The one thing that I know from school is you have to get out your comfort zone, but there's also a level of discomfort that leads to failure.
Good point.
And I was extremely mindful of that when it came to him, because he was raised far more comfortably than I was.
Whew.
And so adversity hits different depending on how you grow up. And I was mindful of that. And despite the parent loans I got to pay back currently, he graduated, he's happy, he's successful. Flip that 10 years later, because my children are 10 years apart. Now my daughter, who's going to nothing but private schools since elementary school and being the black dot in the white world, says, I want to go to an HBCU. Well, why? Well, because her 10th grade year summer, we sent her on an HBCU tour, and she came back and said, I have my list. And she gave me her top 5 list, and it was all HBCUs. And she's been exposed to other things, but she was like, no, this is what I want. I know this for a fact, and it's better now. But HBCUs, when I was coming up, did not have the exposure on the West Coast. Brothers was like, I'm going to Southern. They might as well said they was going to Siberia in LA. That's changing.
Wearing all the sweaters and
No, but what I'm saying is that's changing.
Yeah.
We had like 2 people from Cali, and both of them named Cali on campus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's changing. But now you have to capitalize, because what you have is really, really powerful young people that come from great families that are going to these colleges, and you have to. The daughter and the son is going to Morehouse or Spelman or Tuskegee or Howard, but the mom and dad graduated from the University of Washington, Michigan, USC. You have to pull them parents in and say, your money doesn't go here. Your money goes to where your kid goes. And that's a network we have to build within each other. And while I appreciate, Dr. Dre and the music school at USC, and that's beautiful, and I'm an SC grad, but where did that money to black college marching bands for music?
Everything.
He could have spread that USC. He could have spread that USC money out between 25 schools, and it would have did. You know,
because these HBCUs still ain't got the money Diddy said he was gonna give.
Well,
that's a whole different topic.
Because that money came with a baby oil contract, and so
that part right there
it wasn't for the tubers.
Yeah.
You couldn't hold on to the money because it was too good. You can't hold it.
Go ahead, Ren. What were you gonna say, man?
Just basic math. Basic math, right? Using that old spike paradigm, right? Let's look at it. Last bogus census was like 40 million black people in the country, right? Let's say half of those is adults. That's 20 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every 20 adults give $100. Other adults can give more, but let's say it's a basic $100. That's $2 billion. Barely over 100 black colleges. You know what I mean? Do that math. What is that? Is that 20 million apiece? You know what I mean? Between the two, am I correct? That's 20 million apiece. Imagine what 20 million does to Benedict College
A year.
You know what I'm saying?
If black folks
Imagine
did that every year.
what it does to Talladega.
Stillman.
Imagine
Mm-hmm.
what it does
Mouse.
to Meharry.
Meharry Medical, yeah.
Let me explain to you what Meharry is, okay? Because this is Meharry. So let me give you what Meharry is to Los Angeles. Seriously.
Speak on it.
Martin Luther King Hospital was one of the few hospitals in the 70s that would train physicians, black physicians. The rest of them had their little quotas and things like that. Half of the black doctors at Martin Luther King Hospital were from Meharry.
Nice. Yep.
They trained my father, who came from Rutgers. They trained his best friend, who I thought was my uncle, and I thought we were related to until I was 9 and I didn't know. He comes from South Carolina. Who were mentored by a black doctor that went to South Carolina State, and Tuskegee, who was a fucking vet. Dr. Hardy.
Yes.
Who's a vet, and then took in a bunch of black medical doctors when they came to LA. So, I mean, it's the duality portion of it.
Yep.
Just the fucking 100. And that's just basic. That's basic math. I could be wrong. 20, you know what I'm saying? 20 million. Yes, it's 20 million. 2 billion. Yes, 20 million. You know?
Every year. You know, that's not a one.
Nobody gonna argue math right now.
Yeah.
But this is let me just offer something real quick, because what you said is really important, Rennie. And sometimes amongst black folks, we tend to separate each other because you're talking on something high level in terms of doctors and this and that. Now let me bring it to just a personal thing experience. I talked to my daughter today. Last week is when we brought her to campus. They don't actually start classes until 2 days from now, but they move the freshmen in a week ahead so they can go through a process of understanding the university. Mm-hmm. They have to take a class on the history of the college. That is a requirement. Mm-hmm. Today, I talked to her. And she says, oh, well, in a minute, we're going to go and we're going to walk through my schedule so I know where all my classes are and the buildings. Nobody walked you to your high school classes. What that shows is the level of care that they're putting into our children. I know for a fact how few of us graduate compared to enrollment. You have a far greater chance of graduating and being successful out of an HBCU than you do anywhere else. Just on what she told me alone, and I didn't even say anything. I listened because I don't want to taint her experience with mine. So I shut up and I listened. But I have been my jaw has dropped at least 5 separate times in a week about the level of care and concern for our children. And that is the first week, not even a full week, right? Because when I got to my campus, they was on the DGAF program. As long as the financial aid was straight.
Hey, man. Hey. They have a thing called the induction ceremony at Spelman, where you become a Spelman woman.
They have it at Morehouse too.
Yep.
Yeah, same. It was that too. We had our rites of passage. It was one of the best things, freshman year.
Come on, man.
You do your rites of passage, and man, I can go into Tougaloo College, man. It used to be a former plantation, so the master's house still sits there in the middle. It's the administration building, but it has and it has this hanging moss that just hangs from the trees. It's like so pristine. It's like the ancestors speak to you once you get there. It's a cemetery just right there as soon as you drive on campus, and it's like it's something I can't explain to you. It's a spiritual moment that really just brings you there like no other, and it holds you. It keeps you. It's still holding me to this very day, and I can't explain that to anything else that I've experienced, but that HBCU experience. And to know that it was a long lineage.
Come on, man. Meanwhile, I was being told that I was a descendant of an ape in a philosophy class.
Good. Tyson better than me because
I ain't gonna lie to you. I probably got kicked out of schools. I'm finna.
Oh no! I failed that class because that turned into a debate.
And listen, Tyson better than me because I didn't even eat at the Sioux plantation out here in LA. He talking about the plantation in the center of campus. I said, I wouldn't even go get no chicken noodle in Torrance.
I wanted to reject it for what it was, but then I learned the history of it, and it's like how we overcame and how we end up owning that at the end, and then we turned it into an institution that was for us. Well, not just us alone. It was some white folks involved into it, along with a lot of HBCUs. But at the same time, it was really just something to turn in for us. But it's different. It's different.
Listen. No, I'm not taking away. It speaks to what I said before.
Yeah.
There are many gaps, and I'm a West Coast baby. There's a gap that's being filled, but it's not totally there. I'm proud of the movement we've made, and forget the personal with my daughter. There are so many kids out here of parents that did not go to HBCUs that are at HBCUs or interested in them right now, and that I'm saying that was not a thing in the 90s when I was coming out. It just was. There's a couple schools that were like standouts, but like Rennie said, there's 100 HBCUs out here. Negroes know like 5.
But
in the 90s, 5 or less.
Back in the day, though, what made me like it was a couple of different world for one of them. But Martin used to have them HBCU the sweatshirts on.
Well, that was our era.
Episode. What'd you say, Rennie?
That was our era of and that stuff. That's when we were in college. When that was, you know what I mean? That was as a different world came as we had entered college. So there was an influx after we had entered college. I'm 89. You know what I mean? So
I'm 90.
And so different world percolates in 91, 92.
I'm 92.
I'm 99.
We was in the student center watching it. You know what I'm saying?
After us.
No, but in 90, niggas thought Hillman was a real school.
Yeah, for real.
That's how little we knew.
Yeah.
Like there was such a that's a real conversation, man. That we like we see we sometimes we not honest with each other. There's a gap, you know, and no, it's just I'm what I'm saying is like I know the soil I grew up in,
Right.
and now my family's a little different, but even growing up playing ball in all the different circles I ran in, people wasn't talking about HBCUs like that. I hear way more conversation about it now. And whether it's the Deions or the Eddie Georges or
The Michael Vick.
the Michael Vicks or the craziness that's going on at PWIs.
Right.
Sometimes the thing that we complain about the most is actually the antidote, because for years we started to forget that we all we got.
Yeah, you're right.
And situations have happened that have reminded us, like if somebody on the bell tower and they said I'm shooting some niggas, they not picking Democrat, Republican, gay, straight, this is that. Your black ass is cookies.
Man, look, you got Rennie. You just talked about Remy at the same time. You just
you're my monkey, Malik.
Man.
Hey, so that's actually about to segue over to something else I wanted us to hit on. But before we do, I think the tee up and the lob is to you, Tyson. Tell us about Black with No Chaser, how that started, what it is, and its impact around on Black media and the role that it play.
Well, man, I appreciate just even a moment even to talk about it. But Black with No Chaser is something. I'm a co-founder of it. We have 4 of us founders. We started Black with No Chaser back in 2016, 2017, first as a hashtag, and it was a response. It was another way of saying that unapologetically Black. I'm Black with No Chaser. So we have kind of rode the tide of social media and, you know, what you can do, what you can't do, the groups, the pages, the other things. So we've amassed a following that's close to about 1 million. So we got probably about 400,000 folks that's on Facebook, close to 300,000 that's on Instagram, 10 on TikTok, Twitter. We got a couple different Twitter pages with hundreds of thousands of followers, well, tens of thousands of followers in those spaces. So we've been able to really start conversations and get Black America to chime in on it in a way where we engaged, where it's not just a media brand, but it's kind of a calling. It's something that we, you know, people own themselves. So they say, I'm Black with No Chaser. All of y'all are Black with No Chaser. I can tell you already that y'all Black with No Chaser. And the ethos that comes around that, it's just that one of our taglines is your Blackness is safe here. And we want to make sure that no matter who you are, how you see yourself as Black, that there's a space for us. What we know in this digital space, the same things are being replicated that we have in our physical world. Racism is there, and we get into the digital space. So redlining is there. You got digital redlining. You have platforms that extract our talent and our genius and take it from us and then give it to white folks and let them make a whole bunch of money off of it while we don't make anything. Black with No Chaser is, like I said, it's been where we at. Y'all heard the numbers that we got, but even before you could buy a blue check mark, they refused to give us a blue check mark. Facebook wouldn't give us one. Now I'm gonna talk to people in the high ups on Facebook. Wow. They told us to do this, do that. We did all those things. They still wouldn't give it to us. Instagram, Twitter, none of them would give us a blue check mark to establish. I mean, we had everybody from the Secretary of Education to sitting Congress people to, you know, famous notoriety of folks like that on our podcast, and things like that. They still would not give us a blue check mark as if we that. So I just took it as an infamous thing. So, you know, we could be infamous. We underground kings, if you will. But in that space, my brother CJ, who is a constant content creator, who's our CEO, he has a certain genius about himself and the way he does it. I think you mix us together. I come from very much of I call myself a digital and a grassroots strategist. So I've been an organizer for almost 20 years. Grassroots, political, labor, all those different things. So I bring that into the table of a deep care and concern for us and our community, along with my brother who's a civil rights attorney, and my other brother who is also an attorney. And all of us kind of went together. Most of us went to Tougaloo, so going back to our HBCUs. So we go into HBCUs and kind of there. We started in the South and really expanding out. We're global now. I say one of the things that's kind of crazy is that we had an intern. We did an internship program a couple years ago, and one of our interns was from. I'm gonna mess the name of it. It's Mauritius. It's a small island off the side of Madagascar.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she heard about us and she was deeply connected to what we were talking about just blew my mind. I'm like, you in a small little bitty island off of Madagascar, which is a small island off of Africa in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and you heard about us and you connected with what we're doing in a way that you wanted to be a part of it. Just, it blows my mind. We and I say this last part, but it's we're in a changing mediascape. Media changing from what we watch on TV to even how we consume it online. One of the things that we are very proud of is being able to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to that and meet these challenges where they're at. And as they create new digital spaces, when we talk about XR, VR, and all the rest of that, we want to be in those spaces as well too, because we know that if they are creating new environments, they're gonna bring in that same tired ass bullshit that they continue to perpetuate in our real world in those environments too. So if we're in some meta space and then there's going to be racism there, we want to make sure that we have protected Black spaces where we can be who we are, authentic, without worrying about white people and code switching and all the rest of that.
I love it. I love it. Great layout. JT said something earlier about, Democrat, Republican, gay, whatever. What we talked about privately and on this platform, we don't talk politically a lot on the platform, but I think it's almost time to at least lay this part, and that we've a couple of us is just disconnected from the mainstream or the regular, the usual suspects. And I'll just put this out. My whole thing is around a Black agenda, like not following a party, although I think a Black centered party would be cool, but until then, a Black agenda to where no party, no person, but people who, some things that we could, the 5 or 10 points that we can agree on, that we say institutionally, this is what Black people need, and we can get behind. If you want to roll with it, we'll roll with you to make sure those things get handled in policy and structural. And with that, I want to say, just thinking about, as we think about the media landscape and the conversation that we could have, even on StreamYard or in our backyards, the question is, how do we get platforms like Black with No Chaser to put out, because you got to reach, man, you got incredible reach, feed those ideas like that, like, hey, listen, what do y'all think about the Black agenda? If so, what's the top 5 or 3 things that should be on there? And would you support that no matter who was rolling with it? So I just wanted to think about how you said that the landscape is changing media-wise, and how with the innovations that you're thinking about, that Black folks could use that to really push an agenda, a movement, or whatever it is. That was just my idea, but whatever it is, or the next thing that Black people can get behind.
Man, I think that's a deep question, and I hope that we are in the work that we're doing is approaching the answer to that. I can't even just say that we would even have the answer for that, because I think that, one, we got to have more conversations. We're just getting to know each other, kind of going back to some of the other points that I brought up earlier and how small our community is. We're just getting a chance to know each other. We dispersed from the South and we went into our corners, y'all on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast right now, but I was born in Illinois, so we go up to the Midwest and we went into our different areas. Now we're coming back to some convergence. And one thing that social media has brought to us is an opportunity to communicate with each other. We're getting a chance to know each other. So a lot of the things that you're putting out there, I think that as far as like, and I go into the Black Panther Party 10-point program, some of us are just learning about that as it and in its state that it was, right? So we bring these things out there. I think we have to have time to digest it. We have a lot of ideas in which some of them are brilliant, that are cascading at the same time. And we also have a heightened sense of urgency on having to figure it out all right now, because everything tells us we got to have it all figured out right now. But change happens incrementally. So, and as we look at the incremental change that is coming about, are we able to chart that? Are we able to own our data in this moment, right? So as we talk about the different platforms that exist, in that I just listened to this whole interview on Blue Sky, which is a new innovative one out there, supposed to be the answer for Twitter. And part of what they are doing is for you to own your own data. So if Blue Sky is not the answer for you anymore, if they make some decisions that you don't like, you can take your stuff and go somewhere else. Right now, on the platforms that exist, they own your data. So you can't just take your stuff and migrate over here and do that. So now it's a changing in that aspect. So what does that mean for us as Black people? Where are we at in this situation? What do we own? What's our own IP, our intellectual property for this right there? Because we are the genius that fuels all of this, but we don't own any of the intellectual property. As soon as we put it out there, they come in there and they swoop it up and they go and make money off of it and give us pennies, if anything at all. So this is still happening to this day, even in the form that we're talking about, from social media influencers to the rest of them. These influencer agencies have come out there now. I'll get you these deals. I'll get you this. And basically you sign in 360 deals just to be an influencer, because you got an audience of people who listen to you. And then we get into the tomfoolery that's happening too. So it's like, okay, now they'll pay me if I talk salacious about my community. They'll pay me if I show fight videos. They'll pay me if I do this. They'll pay me if I do this. And they're doing more of that now. And that's not really bringing us forward at all. It might put some money in some people's pocket temporarily, but at the same time, the same thing happened. You in these same environments, you put some money in your pocket, you put the chain on your neck, now you're a target. Now it gets back into the whole situation. Now you got influencers out there perpetuating the same thing we saw with the rap industry, rap beef, and now you got influencer beef. And it's happening over and over again. It's because we're in the same thing. But if we pull it back and say, what do we own in this moment? We look at this this brings into a multi-dimensional conversation, but we look at this now. What do we own here on the ground? And we can say, okay, I own this, this person owns this. We got the institution, we have this, and we're still trying to build out that infrastructure. But now we have to layer on top of that this digital infrastructure and owning pieces of that as well too. Many folks that we got now that are going to the IT field and learning this stuff in the coding, we're still so far behind. There's still a veil that hasn't been lifted for us to even advance in that area where we can have true ownership in this space. But we have to start demanding that, collectively coming together. So I think a space like Black with No Chaser brings everybody together so we can start to have those conversations. We can start to understand exactly what it is that what we have, and then we can move forward. But I don't think that's an immediate thing. I think the aggregate will show 10, 20, 30 years from now what the progress we made.
Hey, I'll say this and then I'll pass it to JT and Rennie for questions. I think you said demanding it, I say commanding it. So rather than waiting on a solution from somebody else, like you said, we got the intellectual property, we got the innovation, everything moved through us. So, let's lead it. Let's figure that out. I'm challenging you to figure that out. And the other thing I want to say is, so just always thinking about, we know the issues, what's the solution? Knowing what you know, man, put it to your Black with No Chaser team, or even us, or even out there who listen to this, man. What's let's think about innovation and just move some things so it don't take 20 or 30 years to see or feel the impact. You know, it don't take data to feel the impact. But I'm gonna toss it to Rennie and JT, see if y'all got any questions for Tyson. And then at some point in time, you got to talk about explain what a 360 deal is. And then we'll get into another section. So Rennie, JT.
I'm good. It stood on what it is. It was very clear.
No, this what I'll say, because first of all, I'm proud of the brother for using the word salacious.
I peeped that.
and ethos.
Hey, Rennie loved that.
You know, I was like salacious. I was like, is that McCormick and Schmitz? Or, is that a flavor? I thought that was a barbecue rub. Anyway, that mother said salacious with a little garlic.
Yeah. Get there with a side of salacious, please.
I have more of a comment than a question, and you know me, I had to lay it down flat. I grew up playing sports, so I'll do a sports analogy. I've never heard Michael Jordan say he was the best basketball player ever. I've heard thousands of people say it. He was busy being the best basketball player he could be, and then other people talked about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Many of people in our community don't like this, but I've never heard Elon Musk say, "I'm the CEO." I've heard a whole bunch of people talk about him as a CEO, but I've never seen one. Maybe you won't, but somebody gonna send it. But I've never heard talk about him being the CEO, right? Meanwhile, a Negro owns an ice cream shop, and they on internet, in the streets. I'm the CEO, because the culture of stunting on niggas is greater than the culture of ownership in our community.
That's facts.
You ask for solutions, that's a solution. When I look at us, when I look at you guys, when I look at people, when I'm mentoring, I want to build. I don't want to take over. I don't want the light on me. I want to build. We can laugh and joke and do all of that while we doing it, because I want to have a good time. But I never want to overshadow the work.
That's facts.
And if you're asking for solutions, to me, that's a major solution. Because stunting on each other, we get more from that than we actually do from the work. And my question is, if nobody ever knew what you were doing, but when it was all said and done, you had a positive impact on your community, on your neighborhood, your family, some industry.
Yes.
Is that good enough?
Yes.
The people that really, really worked, they get talked about at their funeral. And depending on what you believe in, they don't get to hear it.
Yep.
And that's okay. Every year we let me just say this one last thing. Every year we celebrate Dr. King's birthday, right? And I believe there was a speech that he gave, and he said, I may not get there. I believe there was a speech where he forecasted that what I'm doing now, I will not see. And told everybody I'm okay with that. Now, they won't give you that blueprint, just like other blueprints of things he said they won't give you. But let me offer that one up.
Nice.
Because oftentimes people, oh, you talk shit. Duh, 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 duh. Let me tell you what I don't do. I don't break us down. I don't demean us. I build us up. And in my little pockets that I could work in and be effective, that's where I operate. And I want zero recognition for it. If I get any light for it, it's because it's an opportunity to grow what's going on. And then if I have to get in the picture, I get in the picture. But most times I want somebody to stand in my place. Book recommendation, Spook Who Sat by the Door. Let's continue.
Bruh, look, talking about ethos, that's my ethos. As an organizer, you know, I'm used to being in the back room and making sure that things are moving in the way that they're supposed to be moving, and preparing the people to use their own voices to speak to their own issues. So that's kind of even how my mind works. And when we talk about kind of Black Widow Chaser, I think that you have clout, you have those other things out there, and a lot of folks chase that clout when it gets.
That's pathos.
What'd you say?
I said that's pathos. The niggas chasing that bullshit is pathos. It makes me destroy this terrible, sad fucking energy. Terrible ass motherfuckers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's facts. It's that clout that is chasing out there. And
they celebrate,
you know,
that culture.
Man,
they celebrate it.
It's
no, you got to ethos, pathos, and then I saw a girl's feet that looked like Thanos, and it was because she had destroyed the earth underneath them toes. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm sorry. Hold on, everybody. Time for another sucker shit. You know, because you on the road, bro. So go on, pull up the new one.
I've speaking to my dad. Like that's.
Hold up, not the video yet. Not the video yet. Let JT spit another sucker shit.
You think okay? No, I mean okay. First of all, that's because y'all was talking. Y'all inspired me. But you know, since I was thinking. I was at work and I was talking to guys, and you know, guys be talking, oh, I used to play football. I used to play. And whenever we tell these stories, we always are better than we really were. Right. But everybody who played like 6 or 7, maybe 5 or under basketball knew everybody sucked. And we was just out there playing for 20, 30 minutes and the score was 4-2. And it was a mosh pit, right? And then I thought about life. When you that young and you playing in the game, there are rules in the game, but you get grace because you're a little too young to know them. But as you get older, if you don't recognize the rules of the game, you in trouble.
Yes, your ass.
I personally have a few rules for life. I don't give people advice. I'm just saying these are my rules. And take it as you can. Like season 1, I told you guys never trust a skinny chef or a fat personal trainer. Remember that?
That's right.
That was one of my rules, right? So being an older man, health is wealth is a rule. But brothers don't listen to that. Say you in a long-term relationship. If you don't take care of your health, you're going to find yourself in an Airbnb. What's an Airbnb? That's some young nigga with some new Nikes, with a bus pass and a backpack that's going to be skeeting in your woman. I call him Airbnb. Another rule is I value wisdom. So I'm very wary of taking advice of anyone who has never order gas, the dollar on the gas that's lower than the pump number that they going to. If you ain't never said give me 4 on 8, I don't know if I can talk to you because maybe you ain't been through enough.
Change, brother. Give me 235 on 5. 236.
Another thing that this is just me. One of my favorite movies is Jungle Fever. Remember Jungle Fever? Samuel Jackson played a crackhead.
Gator.
You remember who his woman was?
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
So if Gator was a crackhead and he could get Halle Berry, why couldn't you understood why Bobby got with me?
Oh my God.
Okay. One of my rules. I believe that barbecue, particularly ribs, potato salad, and spades have broken up more black relationships than anything else. Not side babies, infidelity, finances. We've recovered from all of that. We up from slavery. There's no such thing called down from spades.
You cut my king, homie.
You cut your partner, that's a wrap, baby.
That's a wrap.
You stupid.
Rob, you talked about politics earlier. I'm gonna give you one. It just popped into my head.
Okay. Political.
And this specifically for black folks. If you could separate OJ from murder, then you can understand why black folks don't want to mess with the Democratic Party no more.
There it is.
And my last one for now.
To be continued when necessary.
When black folks are using an A in words that don't have an A in them, you know it's serious. When I say mom, that's different when I say mama.
Mm.
When I say go ahead sing the song, that girl can sing.
Mm.
When I say I want a drink, I need a drink. And lastly, because I grew up in it, when black folks call on the Lord, they say, Lord.
Lord have mercy.
And if you ain't got rules for life, you want some sucker shit.
Oh, nice.
He muted himself after that.
He dropped the mic, man. He dropped the mic. Hey, listen, that was dope. Hey, one rule that you dropped in season 2 was never race the chick with the short ponytail and the scrunchie.
No, that's not race. You never fight her. So that's the Woodstock rule. If she got the double white scrunchie and one of those scrunchies is a grayish black and it's like 2 hairs sticking out the back like Woodstock off of Peanuts, that broad is undefeated in the hood in fighting.
See, I'm gonna tell you, I'm from Illinois, and in Chicago, we knew based off of what side her ponytail was on. If the ponytail was on this side or that side, you know what set she claiming. But it was definitely gonna be on the side, and just had a little bit sticking out.
See, there's a second part of it that I never brought up. If her heels are crusty, but the top of her flip-flops are worse.
Oh my. Oh my.
What?
If she got them smoke gray flip-flops that's supposed to be white, you about to get your whole ass whooped. Because I'm gonna tell you why. Because that flip-flop can fly off. It don't matter. Because that plant heel can withstand all asphalt. I'm just listen. I'm just telling you what I know.
And she might have a razor right over here. Right
Well,
over
see,
here.
listen. Somebody white Puerto Rican, so, so they know about a razor blade under the tongue. You know, I'm just listen. I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness. Thank
You
you.
know, no, it's okay. My man been sleeping holding his nuts for 30 years.
Oh my goodness. 28. But you close. On that note, thank you, brother. Another classic one in the books. Dio, let's do a reaction. Pull up one of the videos. Bueller, Dio.
It's a reefer break.
Oh, let me hit it.
Stop protecting the private you. The you that refuses to do the tough work. The you that refuses to do the heavy lifting. The you that refuses to have the tough conversations. The you that refuses to put that mirror in front of you and say, mirror, mirror on the wall. The you that refuses. Because when you open your mouth and speak, it's going to tell you about you. See, we don't like to hear about us.
Hold on, we gotta hit that again because we didn't get the beginning. Hold on.
When you're going to enter into abundance, when you stop protecting the private you, the you that refuses to do the tough work, the you that refuses to do the heavy lifting, the you that refuses to have the tough conversations, the you that refuses to put that mirror in front of you and say, mirror, mirror on the wall, the you that refuses. Because when you open your mouth and speak, it's going to tell you about you. See, we don't like to hear about us.
Man, so here's my question. The first question is, whatever reactions you have about that. But the reason why I wanted to share that is because, it hit me because it talked about the private you, right? Experiencing abundance when you basically let go of the private you. And what's so poignant to me in this space is that is my man JT. I mean, all of you guys on the screen, JT, Rennie, and Tyson, man, all of you guys speak your mind. All of you guys get free when needed to be free. You guys are free thinkers, free speakers, and that abundance is connected to that. So being free, saying what I need to say is really new to me, and all of you in your ways, even though me and Tyson just recently met over the last couple of years through a coaching thing, community change. I got a chance to be his coach, and I don't know how much coaching we did, but we had conversations like this. But what does that clip mean to you? Like, abundance is being connected to letting go of the private you and really stepping into who you are. Anyone?
Abundance is connected to letting go of the private you.
Let me go.
Go ahead.
So I think that we were talking about something earlier, and let me see if I can connect this with what's going on in my head. I think that we first have to define what abundance is.
Okay.
We've been taught that abundance is material things. But there's far greater levels of abundance. I've been up and I've been down financially, but at no point have I been full. But I've had moments in my life where I was emotionally full, where I was spiritually full, or sometimes I thought I was mentally full, but I had some more room after that. But in that space I was in, I was mentally full. That's abundance to me, right? Because you can make money, you can lose money. I mean, how many stories we've seen of folks that have been up, down. Oh, he's the best businessman ever. He was bankrupt 3 times and he came back, right? But there's a spiritual, emotional, and mental abundance
Yes,
that
sir.
we don't share and that we don't talk about.
Yes, sir.
It is neglected. Let me tell you how lacking we are as Black men in terms of abundance. Normal thank you and appreciation to us is like winning the damn gold medal in the Olympics. Do you know how lacking you have to be that when someone just says thank you, or when somebody does on a level of 10 something that's a 3, that other men and other communities get all the time? But we call each other, man, I met this girl and she said thank you when I opened the door and paid the bill. No, what I'm saying, like we're lacking, right? And so the idea of abundance to us is so foreign because we come from lacking. And there's such a gulf in between. Like these are like cavernous. This is miles to go. The marathon for many of us as brothers specifically is to get to normal.
Wow.
So the conversation of abundance is foreign.
Thank you, brother.
I was struggling to process the private you and the public portion of what that is, and how to even how to respond to that, how that, you know what I mean?
Well, what I thought about is I've been in spaces, so many spaces over the last 30 some odd years with Jay, where people have said, I can't believe he said that. And he'd be like, y'all was all thinking it anyway. I just said it, right? To me, that's a free person, right? That's abundance to me, right? And so inspirational. So privately, people were thinking it already, but what held you back from saying it? What do you think people would say about you if you said that, right? That people worry about, that private you, the 2% rule, right? I don't want to give or show all of myself, because if anybody knew that 2%, they may be disgusted by it and judge me on that 2% and forget the 98% of the good I've done. But it doesn't matter, because you're still 100% of a person. So that 2% is still part of you. So
let me help. Let me help. So we can bring it. No, we're gonna bring it home, and I'm gonna use myself this way, and me and her will fight later. So yeah. So I've always told the story that my parents were divorced when I was 8 months old. Recently, my mother told me I was 2 months old, as if those 6 months made a goddamn difference. She was just talking shit. I was like, what's the difference between 2 months and 8 months, mama? I was like, damn. I was like, you cut the cord and left that nigga. But anyway, so I'm telling this story. My mom changes it, blah, blah, blah. So I am with my aunt and my goddaughter, who is also my cousin. That's a whole nother story, because I got 3 or 4 cousins that are my godchildren. That's a big black family. Don't worry about that part. So I was talking about how I wish my mother would have remarried. But I was talking about it selfishly because a lot of this shit is falling on me and my sister. I wish somebody here to take this shit, right? So, but I was telling jokes about how mama, I remember when we lived off of Crenshaw and Slauson, and the dude came over and put the basketball hoop on the garage, and I was like, that wasn't your buddy. Don't no nigga just be coming over with tools and hoops. I'm a grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I know shit. She was like, that was my friend. We went to Vegas once, but that was just my friend. I was like, oh, we going to Vegas with friends now. That's what we doing.
That's
right. So she was, so she was feeling it. She was like, and then she said, just because you didn't see men don't mean there was men. And I said, I don't want to hear about you chasing Streetwood, mama. I told Rob that story. And he was like, you said that to your mother? And I was like, what else was she doing? Besides, she just said that she was sneaking niggas.
Mm-hmm.
And I just
that's me and my mama relationship.
No, so what I'm saying is, if you bold enough to say it to me, I'm bold enough to say it to you. And can we all just stand on truth?
How about that? And
I have no judgment. Okay? Because whew,
Can I jump?
I done snuck a few under the radar. So if my mama did too, so be it.
JT, you bringing up something there, and it's like, and even in the question too, but kind of like that. I think that it's one thing that I've been this year. Something was delivered to me, spiritually delivered to me. Is more of, get rid of my opaqueness so I can be more transparent. Like, and it gets into that quote of it was Marianne Williamson, but I let my light shine so unconsciously other people know it's okay to let their light shine, right? And in that thought process, and that's what I saw that when I heard that that quote, and when I started to think about what that means, that's kind of what resonates inside of my head, right? But even in that, as what you just shared your mom there, and I love that, bro, because that's how my mom was, and that's kind of brought me to this, and it's like I grew up with this sense of maybe not fear of what I was thinking and thinking that I had to shield that from other folks. But as I grew up and along the way, I've met people who have maybe cultured me in some kind of way to kind of shielding some of those things and keeping some of those things to myself. And it's here recently that I've been going through the transformation process of saying, you know what, I'm going to say what I know needs to be said. And if you like it, if you don't like it, then that is what it is. Because I know what's inside of me, and what's inside of me is pure. What's inside of me is God. What's inside of me is truth. And there is no incorrect time for that. It's always the right time to tell the truth. It's always the right time to do the right thing. It's always, if you have something in you, to say it. So I've been embracing that a little bit more here lately, but at the same time, it's still a process to undergo some of this conditioning that I've been put through that told me, me telling the truth wasn't it, or you can't tell this person the truth because they'll take it this way, or they'll do this, or they'll react this way, and it's like, fuck that. It's not really about how you react, it's about the truth. And sometimes your reaction is necessary. When I used to take medicine, cod liver oil was the worst medicine I ever tasted in my life. I don't know why anybody thought to put that in their mouth at one point in time. Like, whose grandma figured that out? Like, when we're gonna take the liver of a cod and take the oil from it and put it in your mouth because it's gonna make you feel. Who did that? But they were genius. because it make you feel better. But it was the worst tasting shit I've ever tasted in my life. Period. Like I haven't had that since I was like 5, and I still can remember to this day what it tastes like. It's just it's not what you want. But at the same time, I think that's
hold up. Let me offer this. This is a way I hold brothers responsible. We haven't been truth tellers in our own community. How so, JT? Well, in our efforts to chase tail, we've been lying the whole time because that's the quickest route to get it. Because our focus has been on that and not building a community and sustaining and building. We all nod our heads. There are going to be women that hear what I say and are clueless. Why? Because you've been lied to for the majority of your life. But we know the lies we've told. And it's not the lies you thought we told. We as men need to stand up as men.
Yeah.
And it's a game changer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I told the story of my mother, but let me give you this. There is no person in the world that I revere and I love more than my mother. I texted her, your son and your daughter are graduates from the University of Southern California. Your grandson is a graduate of Loyola Marymount University. Your grandson is a freshman at Fresno State University, and your granddaughter is a freshman at Tuskegee. Not bad for a black woman that was a secretary at Carnation Ice Cream, that didn't drive the freeway and graduated to working at the post office. You did that, Mom.
Yes.
But because I can be honest there, is I could have the other conversation with her.
Yeah.
See, it's not just the calling out on the bullshit. It's I praise her all the time.
Yeah, 100%.
But what we are in as black men, and folks gonna get mad, brothers, if you're not in the constant praise mode, then you're not a good brother. And we know in our friendships, praise without critique is bullshit.
That part.
If I praise y'all all the time, at a certain point, y'all be like, this nigga blowing smoke on my ass. He run the pyramid scheme. Nigga try to sell me something. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And I think that we need to have, there was a time, I said it before, there was a time when we all knew, black men, black women, we knew where the enemy was. I'm gonna give you guys an example, and then I'm gonna let y'all have it. Our women have adopted the stories of middle-class white women. When they tell the story of being a woman, they talk about voting and not working and ownership. Well, our history as black folks is totally different. Black folks, both people have always worked in a marriage. We struggled for the vote together. There was no his or hers cotton fields. Stop giving me some middle-class white woman story. Like, we've been in this together. As a matter of fact, let me give you one more. You've always been more educated than us because we went to the fields to support the family. And the number one job of black women coming up was school teacher.
In the public education system,
you had to be educated. But that was our deal. There's always been white collar black women and blue collar black men in marriages. And now we not together no more because they look down on blue collar brothers. That's our real story. But we haven't been honest because we want some ass on Thursday night. Because it's just easier to be in the dorm and say, okay, right? And drink that wild Irish rose
With the Kool-Aid.
and get it in.
For sure. For sure.
We dropped the ball, brothers. We have dropped the ball.
And the spaces we have to recalibrate relationships with our honesty, we don't do that for the fear of confrontation. You know
Speak
what
on
I
it.
mean? And
Speak
the
on it.
practice of doing that should happen with our mothers. It should happen with our sisters. But in our desire to give back to them in our abundance of love for them, and to create something for them and support them in the spaces where the men have failed them, we end up lying. And then when we finally reached our limits, because the outside world has pushed us to the point where we reached our limits and we can't handle all of it. We're overwhelmed in it. We got to release it somewhere. And we finally say, hey, you know, Mom, when you do that, man, that's just not cool. Don't do that. That makes me like this. And then it gets reversed. You know, then they start giving you reasoning as to why it happened, as opposed to, man, fuck the reasoning. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. All I'm trying to do is recalibrate this. I don't love you any less. I'm not trying to change us. I just need to recalibrate our interaction so that we can move forward honestly and with transparency. And I guarantee you the communication will be better. Our appreciation for each other will be better. And if we could practice that, you know, with in relationships, in those close relationships, even as we grow up. I don't know if y'all ever seen the video with a little boy, the mom asks, is she fat? I don't know if y'all remember that. And he's like, and I was like, she's already fucking training this little brother to be dishonest with her. Broke my heart. Everybody thought it was funny. And I was like, man, that shit ain't funny. He knows what he sees. He knows that. Instead of allowing him to be free in his honesty and creating a space for that boy to feel comfortable to express himself in that space, man, she's breeding all the wrong habits that will eventually bury that boy.
She was looking for the only brother in the world who's gonna tell her she gonna look fat in that dress. She's like, if nobody else.
Put that pressure on that little boy like that. You know what I mean?
That dude was mentally in a pretzel.
100%.
Trying to answer her.
At like 9.
Right.
At like 9 years old. So we've seen it. You know what I mean? I've seen it. I've seen it in the silence of my grandfather. You know what I mean? My grandfather, boom, boom, boom. His daughters. And I see him like that. And then their head nod. And we go out and we perpetuate it.
Man, it's conditioning. It's conditioning. It's continued conditioning all the way down the line. Man, it's like we were taught to sire. We on them plantations, they made us sire. They're like, you are a buck. You go and do this and do that. That's what you're gonna do. Take away our true emotions and feelings for women, and that transpires also to our mothers. But it also, I think it comes down to a point in time too that who we are inside, right, was also present, and we had to comfort our women at the same time, knowing that we had to be bucks. So we had to fuck them at the same time, comfort them, and we've been in that mode for such a long time that we are comforting them, knowing that I'm a buck.
Damn.
Knowing that this is what I do and this is how it's gonna happen. But in this meantime, I'm gonna tell you this because I want you to feel comfortable.
Emotional labor, man. Let's get into the next clip, and this will be the last one, and we'll wrap up.
my sons. But it'd be hard though, bro. And I'm gonna tell you why. It goes back to a question you asked earlier. You was like, how do you feel sometimes as a man? Do you feel like you get just due? No. I'm gonna be honest. I be in my house all day. I cook, I clean, I do schoolwork, I take him to track practice, I do everything. Like when it comes to that father, I do everything. And you know what's the first thing people say? You know, how could Dina, she need a break. She got all them boys. And you know, my wife does her fair share. There is no she does more, I do more, we both do. But when you asked about how we feel as fathers, I honestly don't feel like fathers get enough just due. Because I'm just as guilty, yo.
Let's talk about that.
My father was dead. And the minute I got an opportunity, I thank my mom for everything. And I thank my mom and everything in part because my father was the one holding me accountable. So during the time, it was, and I'm just being honest, it was almost like I'm not even going to thank him. And I didn't realize how that could be coming across to him.
I feel that way often. It's because my wife is such an amazing mother.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like when you be busting your butt, hopping these planes, and you know what I'm saying, you tired, but you gotta go make that check. You gotta, like all my kids graduated college with no bills. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna take care of everything. But a lot of times it does feel like, like yours is like, oh, thank you, but mama.
Yes.
I'm glad that said Kurt Franklin, because I didn't know if that was Plies or Kurt Franklin at first.
Well, you didn't know about
the voice. The voice told me.
Yeah, what y'all think about this? JT talking about this all the time. What y'all think about this?
Oh, you said my name. That's how you gonna do it? Okay.
No,
this is
you say this all the time.
No, this is my theory, and you guys take it and do with it what you want to do with it. My theory is if you are doing your job as a father, and especially as a black father and as a man, you will be taken for granted. Your children, your wife, your family will know nothing else other than you showing up, other than you handling your business, other than you taking care of things. It is rare that there will be someone, and it is not a matter of love, because there are people that will love you dearly, but they will not look behind that curtain. Superman saves everybody. He does not save himself. They don't write that in the comic books. When you become that Superman for people, that just becomes the job. And people expect the job. My daughter says this thing that I take the ultimate pride in, but it is also an ultimate burden. She will tell her mother, my daddy's got it. She says it with the utmost confidence. She does not bat her eyes. She just knows. Right? I'm not in the mind of my ex-wife, but I know part of her is like, fuck him. And the other part is, yeah, he does. Right? But think about my daughter's perspective. She doesn't know a world that exists
where daddy doesn't have it.
My son, 10 years older than her, does not know a world that exists. They also don't even fathom the pressure of that.
I have no idea.
And they don't even think that their father comes from a world where he had no relationship with his father. Now, I've had some fantastic uncles and mentors and men that are like, don't, this is not a sob story. This is just a real story.
This is the story.
Daddy's got it. yes, men, we need to take on that burden. And yes, men, you will not be appreciated fully for it.
Wow.
Man, my son.
Understand the reality of that shit and don't look for a way out. That if you get more than that, buy a lottery ticket. That's my perspective. That's my perspective on it. Y'all can talk me out of it. I'll be on mute.
Go ahead, Tyson.
Man, I ain't gonna talk you out of because I feel, man, look, I'm only 4.5 years into my fatherhood journey, but my son told me I'm a superhero. It made me melt in my heart to hear that, but man, he cry for his mama if she leave out the door for 5 minutes. So it's like it's a psychological thing going on in my head. It's like, wait a minute, why you don't want to be with me? like hold on, like wait a minute, like didn't I just buy you that toy over there that you were obsessing over? Didn't I just do that? Didn't I just do this, and this? I bought you the food that you eating right there. I'm like, I'm not saying that she don't contribute because she does a lot, but I'm just saying, it's like just instantly, because a moment ago I was doing this, like, but it's the mama, it's I'm getting used to exactly what you said right there. It's a point of like, okay, my appreciation is different. It might not be verbal. My appreciation is being seen by following through with him becoming who he is and living that out. And that's how I think I'll judge my appreciation. I don't need the flowers. Like JT said, I want to train my son to make sure that he gets his mama those flowers. Train my son to make sure that he takes care of those things. He can understand what that means and his responsibility and his role in doing that. But as for me as a man, I would say this also too, and I've never been as lonely as I am now as a father and a husband. I'm used to having my boys around me at every moment. We could talk about things, we could go through things, and we share those things together. But now they got wives, they got families, they got those other things, and it's just me kind of here trying to deal with all this shit at one point in time, and I can't bring it to my wife because if I bring it to her, that's a powder keg right there. Like then I have to deal with that, and it gets to a point I can't bring it to nobody else, but it's just me sitting right here with all that. And man, if somebody could just come in 1 second and be like, look, I got you, I got this for you, you don't have to worry about that. Be everything, but also knowing that's not gonna happen. This your family, this your legacy, and this how it works. And that comes with all the ups and downs that you have to deal with it. But I mean, it's a different thing, and I think it's just adjusting to an understanding that thank you and reciprocating those feelings happens differently for us than what it does for others.
And if you're doing it for notoriety, and if you're doing it for acknowledgement, then your principles are off. You know what I mean? Because you have the knowledge that the work has to be done.
I just wanted to say, first of all, you got a new family of brothers, man. You got to tap into when you feeling like that, or you feeling on the opposite scale, man. You got a new family you can tap into, brother. Just want to give you that. But go ahead, Rand. As the newest father, great uncle, been the dopest uncle for all these years, but now he's the newest father.
Yeah. And given the way I was fathered by my uncles, you know what I mean? I don't know that it feels that much different, other than the fact that they can't take this one from me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I was battling for them to be like, hey man, I put in the work for this one, and you ain't even gonna give me no say on this one. You're just gonna get up and bounce. You know what I mean? You're gonna get up and lead with that. You know what I mean? But now it squabbles. You try to take this one from me. You know what I'm saying? I can stand on that and be like, nah. But within our principles, we have the understanding and the perspective that we know that it's the work that has to be done. And like you said, the loneliness in the space because so much of what you do is devoted in that unit. There's very little time to get outside of it, to go and at the very least be in a space where other people that have an understanding of what that feels like, and the catharsis. Because I'll be honest with you, man, I'm not the cathartic dude that needs to unpack his day and things like that. But I am am I tripping?
Self-analysis.
Am I tripping? Because this is making me feel like this. And all I need to know is, nah, Playboy. and cool, I can write this ship. I can get back in it. I don't, you know what I mean? Just have an understanding that I know that I'm not gaslighting myself.
Right.
You know, and I'm being honest with myself.
I've replaced loneliness with solitude. And I have replaced doubt with purpose. I have fallen in love with myself in a way that I never have. And in this conversation, because it's current, we've been talking about, my daughter in college and everything, but without going into great detail, everything fell the way it should have fallen. We had so much one-on-one time. We had so much alone time. We had so many great conversations. And I was able to pour into her. And she's so responsive to me. And it is such a love affair, because she just she got it. It was true. I have a story with my son, and we got bumps in the road, but the story is true. My mother, the story is true. Listen, me and my sister, you could not be more tighter than me and my sister. And we was like Crips and Bloods growing up.
For sure.
And I say this, no matter what it is, I want it to be righteous. You don't like me and it's righteous, I'm okay with that too. I don't like you and it's righteous, fine. More oftentimes than not, that righteousness is understanding. Now, let me bring it back around to something that was said by Tyson. That loneliness, that isolation, that feeling is not something that brothers share. We are blessed if we find other brothers to share with, but we rarely will share with our woman. Why?
And why?
Because it will not be met with a great reception.
Yes.
But women don't see that as a problem with them, because we've been dishonest. And I'll say it out loud. Women, what's wrong with you? Why don't you examine yourself to say, this man is coming to me with the fullness of who he is. You say you want this greater relationship, but you don't even make the step. I couldn't imagine a woman I love and a woman I care about, or a woman I have vowed my life to, coming to me in pain or crying or distress. And my response is, look how weak she is. I will never have respect for her.
Wow.
But that's what we're met with a lot of times.
or we're met with that admission with projection. Like, hey, man, I'm just telling you this is what I'm going through so you have perspective. This is not a reflection of you.
I think though,
I need some grace. I'm just looking for some grace and some space. I don't need you to give you the reason. Well, I would, you know what I mean? Well, I'm going through, I don't need you to give me back. I understand. Just allow me this space.
I'll share this because enough time has passed. So, you know, as you talk about, I'm divorced and my daughter's in college. She's 18. Me and my ex-wife were divorced, and she was moving to Phoenix. And this was 12 years ago, somewhere around there. And I helped her pack the U-Haul and do everything. And then she got in there and took my baby and drove off, right? I'm waving.
I remember that day.
I got in my car. I drove a half a block, parked the car, and cried for 30 minutes by myself.
Yep.
Nothing in my mind said to call somebody, that maybe somebody could help me. I don't ever want a brother to feel so alone like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't talk about it till a while later.
Yeah, I told you years later, nigga. But in that moment, I took that shit on the chin in solitude, and nobody in my circle knew that.
Right.
And when they would ask me, I'd be like, she got there safe. Everybody's okay. I would give the politically correct answers. And I was dying inside.
Yes.
Every time my daughter came and left, when she left, I cried for years. We would be at the airport crying, white folks looking at us. And it was like a damn movie. BT8, we crying and shit. And then one day it hit me. And then I gave it to my daughter. I said, we feel how we feel because of how much we love each other. And our damn love knows no space, time, or boundaries. This love is universal. We're not crying no more. We are appreciating this love. But I had to go through that for years without saying that to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Brothers are going through it, man.
Yeah.
And we alone. And they don't even know that we exist.
Go ahead, Tyson. I've been, man.
Man, it's so much in that right there, because it's like I think even in in marriage for me, and it's a progress, it's a work in progress. It's learning each other in this thing, and I think it goes back to something JT said. It's like really learning to love yourself. And in that self-love is, the first love, and it's really cherishing that. And that's where honesty comes from. I think that's where, we standing on who we are and what we believe. And shit, if I gotta cry, then I'm gonna cry. And if you think I'm weak, then leave.
100%.
At the end of the day, like you look, fuck it, this who I am, and this is me being real and honest and my human, and human. And if that ain't good enough, okay.
My humanity.
You get to that resolve, it's like then I'm gonna be honest with you every single time. And so luckily things have started to change, to a point of that we are beginning to communicate those things. And this is just being honest, communicate those things where, it's not met with the same, like, and I don't know, maybe it's me projecting too, because in those moments too, I felt weak. So if I felt like I felt weak, then I felt like she was looking at me like I was weak. So if I feel like I'm weak, I feel like everybody looking at me like I'm weak. And so then I'm, and it's trying to adjust to that. And it's also too of, what had, going back to that word conditioning, what have they been conditioned to think and feel? And when that moment where you start to overcome that stuff is the magic. And I hope that magic lasts. I don't know, how it goes, because I know, I hear from y'all brothers are my big brothers in this situation. So to hear, you all experience and everything, I learned from those things. But man.
Before Rennie says something profound with a whole bunch of syllables, something came into my head, and I apologize, brothers. This is just my mind. This is how I think. Y'all got to deal with what comes out of this shit because y'all asked me to be here.
Oh my goodness.
It's easier to fuck with no condom than to share your emotions.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Don't share these kids before you share the emotion.
Motherfuckers will risk their life for they risk their heart.
Ooh.
Put a button on that.
Guard your heart, 3 Stacks.
Yes, sir.
And then they wonder why we don't share ours.
Man.
You can't take credit for being the blueprint and then don't take credit for being the blueprint.
Got taps playing in the back.
Hey, you know where I'm at, about a military base.
It's so perfect. This is like,
man. Look, I ain't been on a military base in a good 20 years.
Hey, so listen, I'm up. Listen, this is how my spot is. I'm so far away from it. I'm up the hill, but my view is the whole harbor and the military base, everything. The sound is so clear that when they play taps at night, you hear it like they playing it in my living room.
bro, we just heard it.
No, but he just haven't been here to see it. Y'all, like, if he saw it, he'd be like, damn, you can hear that from here? Like,
it's 12 midnight here. They're just like, man.
every night at 9 they play taps.
Man,
on the West Coast.
Let me share some quick wisdom, man, because this whole fatherhood and getting free just hit hard for me this past weekend. And I just came to some realizations about my dad and his relationship with his father, which is non-existent, and how that's impacted my relationship with him and the expectations I've had over the years for him that that I didn't articulate to him, and even if I did, I don't think he could have came through. But I had an expectation of him that he couldn't live up to, didn't have the capacity to live up to, and so I just came to some deep realizations about being his son, him being my father this weekend. And with that, one of my buddies, Bernard, he had sent something to me, man, and I want to read this to you guys because it hits and it seems appropriate and apropos. He said, number one, he said, I urge you to remember this wisdom that has helped me. He went through similar stuff with his father before his father transitioned. He said, we are able to heal and love our parents when we accept them as humans and not as the superheroes our childish minds necessarily made them to be. And I know I call I used to before this weekend, I used to call my dad Pop, so Sanford and Son, and I used to love their relationship, and I wanted something similar especially something similar that I have been working on to be for my sons and my nephews. But the realization this weekend was like, that's not gonna happen. So Pop, what wasn't gonna happen. And so he's his dad now, and that's not a knock, but that's that part of me, that kid that needed that validation from him. I understand it's not gonna happen, and so that part of me is gone. You know what I'm saying? That's a wrap. Second thing Bernard wrote: we can only judge people on the basis of the understanding of whether or not they did their best given what they knew. If they did, we have to appreciate them. Did you do your best given the information that you know? If so, I mean, that's actually an internal thing. I can't determine that for you. I can just automatically say, I'm going to assume you did the best given what you knew, and I'm going to appreciate you for that from my pop. And then the last one he said is, and this is a term that he and I use, or he uses for me all the time, which I love, and I'm getting there, and I'm almost there. He says, we use a term called get free, which is apropos of what we've all talked about tonight. Get free. He said, you deserve it. Believe me, the pain you've been afraid to affirm, lives most powerfully in the darkness. It shrinks and goes away in the light. The pain you've been afraid to affirm, I thought that was deep, lives most powerfully in the darkness, and it shrinks when it shrinks and even goes away in the light. And I just wanted to share that with all of us, man. And because at some point in time we got pain that we've been afraid to affirm, or we affirm it in silence, in loneliness, and to Tyson and JT's point, loneliness. If we transform that and pivot that to solitude, there's something special in that. There's something special about how do we find out more of who we are and who we really are, and how do we get to the point where we love that person in the mirror. So yeah, I know it's getting late, so I want to at least lay that out there. If anyone want to have some response to that, did you have a response, Ram?
No, man. You know what I'm saying?
So,
we could have buttoned that up on the taps. You know what I'm saying?
So this is what I want to do, man. I just want to say big ups to you guys, man. JT, Rennie, Tyson, thank you for coming in as a guest. You're welcome to come back anytime, brother. This is home for you. We'll also share contact information, and we can hop on the Zoom anytime. And just connect. We can hop on a call anytime. Thank you. Big ups to my man behind the boards, Dio. Thank you to the Gathering Spot. We're not there, but want to always give them love. Thank you to Tally and Twine. We always bust a Tally and Twine. We'll have links for folks who want to check out what they got. Black watchmakers, some brothers who are really good. So I rocks with Tally and Twine, and we are affiliates of Tally and Twine. So we'll make sure the links are there for folks to check out what they got new coming up. And the lounge benefits. So we'll go through and say our last words. We'll start with Ren, JT, and the last word will be Tyson's.
Last word.
What you want to leave the people with?
Hey man, stay black, nigga. Fuck 50 Cent. Fuck trolls. Anyways.
JT.
Y'all crazy as hell. I want to give a shout out to Fried Chicken Wednesdays and Fried Fish Fridays at Tuskegee University. Because that's where my daughter's at, and I told her it better be Monday through Friday gym days. But I appreciate you brothers. For showing up, showing out, being honest, being truthful, and It does not matter whether one person hears this or a million people hear this. It's about what's been shared between us. And that's what's important.
So
That's what I got.
I'll show you, brother. Tyson, last word is yours, brother.
Man, I think I'll share the word that was given to me about a week ago. It's been expanding in my own brain and what it means. I was told to zoom out. I was, the old adage that you can't see the forest for the trees. And I was stuck looking at a tree, and that tree looked really big. And I saw all the limbs on that tree, and I saw all the leaves on that tree, and I saw the bark on that tree, and it looked so intimidating. But when I zoomed out, it was just a tree among many. And I also saw the progress that was made. And I saw the journey that it took to get to where I was, to see that one tree that was in front of me. And also showed me there's many more trees that's going to be in front, but it's all part of the process. I share that word. Hopefully it resonates with somebody, because it was given to me, and I'm going to share it back with the audience that's listening to this podcast. And I appreciate you, brothers. I appreciate Black brothers coming together, creating this space for us to be there. I appreciate the word that I'm not alone, that I do have a community out here, and I reverberate that word to every Black man that might hear this right now. You're not alone either. There's a community of us out here who think like this in multiple generations. And we're here, and we got a train that ain't stopping. So, and that's the word I want to leave us with. So thank you.
You are not and never alone.
You are not and never alone. Thank you, Brother Rob. Thank you, Brother JT. Thank you, Brother Rennie. For being my big brothers in this moment right here.
100%.
So,
yeah, man. This is love.
That's it. We took the condoms off first, niggas. I'm sorry.
and we're out. We're going to end the stream on that.